All right.
All right, recording started.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining in. We'll wait a couple more minutes just to await a few more folks that are coming in. But as we said, uh, welcome in. I'm Matt Walsh. I'm on the customer success team, and so are my colleagues. Jennifer is here, and Adrian is here as well. And I'm just playing sort of host MC today, and Adrian's going to walk you guys through. Um, the accounting setup process. And we'll go through sort of a summary before she dives in of what the plan is to cover today. And then there'll be some time at the end for Q&A. You can always punch in a question during the meeting as well if something comes up, and we can always pause if it's relevant to that section. So no worries there. Okay, so as I was saying before everybody jumped in, uh, when we're waiting for a few stragglers, let us uh, just go through our fun little questions here. Feel free to punch a answer into our chat box, and then we'll be underway in just a minute or two. And based on the amount of invites, Jen, does it seem like we'll be waiting for many more folks to join in?
We had about 75 register, so we are still missing a fair amount.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll wait. And it's right at the top of the hour, so no
Yep.
worries. I did not know these answers, so this is kind of fun. Chionophobia is the fear of, I don't know if anybody had uh, put anything in the chat. Yeah, there you go. Snow. Any other answers? Christmas. The answer there is snow. So that's an actual thing, which I didn't know about. Unless Jen is just making these up, because these did come from Jen.
Not making it up.
This one was very interesting too. I guess I never really thought about it. Everyone knows the mistletoe tradition, but what color are the berries actually on that plant? Anyone have a guess there?
Red, white, green. We
Yeah,
got a little bit of
a little
everything.
bit of everything. I would have said red, but turns out it's actually white. Yeah, I would have said red as well. I think I might be thinking of like a holly bush or something.
All right. Char got that one. And so did Stacy.
Awesome. For how many months will the average grizzly bear hibernate? Any guesses there? A couple more folks coming in. A couple of B answers. So that's actually C. So 5 to 7 months. That's a great nap.
That is a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then one more fun little question here. The word winter comes from which language family? A couple more folks popping in as well. Any guesses on this one? I had no idea on this one. Lots of C's and one B. And actually,
A couple B's. Yeah.
yep.
Tim
Oh,
and
there you go.
Stacy.
Yep.
Oh,
So it's
C.
Germanic.
Stacy, Maya. All right. Good guesses, everyone.
Yeah, awesome. Fun little questions too. Thanks, Jen. All right. Did you want to wait a couple more minutes, or did you want to dive in and get things kicked off?
Let's see where everyone is coming from. If you can put the name of your park and where you're located, that'd be great. We'd love to see our parks across the whole North America, pretty much. We've got Canada and the United States.
Yeah, that would be great just to see who's
So I'm
see
here in
some friendly
Atlanta.
names. Tall Timbers, sure. Yep.
Right. I used to live in California.
Oh, Branson. I was just at the trade show down in Branson. That was an awesome area. Grand Bend and Port Franks in Ontario. That's
Close
in
to
your
me.
neck of the woods.
Yep. Well, close in the grand scheme of things.
Riff Rafters. Nice to hear from you guys at Riff Rafters. It's been a while. Thanks for coming in.
Santa Rosa, California. Oh, my sister lives there.
Oh, and Buena Vista, Colorado. Right.
That's
So,
great.
yeah, awesome. We got people from all over the place. All right. So, today, as we had mentioned right off the top, today is a not necessarily a deep dive into specific questions about things that are already set up in accounting. It's more for an overview of the accounting setup. So from A to Z, just how to get things set up and to get things rolling. Adrian will and might have time just to go through a couple little examples, like uh, good reports to use, or one or two errors that come across most commonly. But here you'll see just basically a little agenda, just so you guys know what to expect. We just wanted to make sure at the top that if anyone's here for a more detailed dive in, certainly feel free to stick around for the Q&A and you can ask there too. But it is going to be mostly geared towards folks that have not set up their accounting yet. So we'll do an overview of the accounting tool. Adrian will talk about the three types of accounting that we offer, and we won't go, really in the weeds with accrual and hybrid because there just aren't as many parks that have that, but she'll touch on those. We will talk about setting up your chart of accounts and then how to link those accounts to the appropriate places so that everything's nice and smooth. And then she'll touch on what you actually do, what it actually looks like at the end of the day. And then, as I mentioned, we'll go through at least one common error, just depending on timing and stuff, at least one common error that comes across, touching on the report, and then we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So that's the plan for today. Feel free, by the way, if there's something that's relevant to that section that Adrian's talking through, feel free to punch a question into the chat and we could shout it out and bring that up either during that conversation or at the end. So whatever works best for you guys. And then we'll have plenty of time at the end for Q&A as well. So with that said, go ahead and take it away, Adrian.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Matt. I'm just gonna share my screen. Just let me know that you can see it before I start talking and no one knows what I'm looking at. Has it popped up?
I can see it.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, cool. I just know my luck. All right, so to start, you do have to have the permissions enabled before you can even start doing any of this. So under settings and users, if you go into your users here, oh, it's just me and my park, you can see that there are accounting procedures and accounting settings. So settings give you the ability to actually do the setup, to link GL codes to the charges, to add new GL codes. And then procedures would be for anybody who you want to give the ability to run the end of day update. So like if you have clerks that you're like, you could run the end of day, you can close out, but I don't want you touching the settings. They can have the procedures enabled, but the settings disabled. So just make sure that those are turned on for your account or for whoever you'd like to give access to before you get going. Otherwise, you're going to struggle finding the things that we're looking at. So to start, we're going to go to the settings and we'll look under accounting here. So again, once it's enabled, you'll see the accounting under the settings. We do have 3 different types of accounting available. We have cash accounting, accrual, and hybrid. So with cash accounting, you're recognizing revenue as payments are made. So if somebody pays you $50 today, that is revenue today. If you do hybrid, that recognizes revenue on the arrival date of the reservation, regardless of status. So it doesn't matter if you check them in or not. But if you pay $50 today for a reservation that starts on May 1st, that $50 will stay in a deposits account until May 1st. And at that time, it'll automatically be recognized as revenue when you do the end of day update. And then, of course, we have full accrual, which prorates the duration of the stay and recognizes revenue every day of the stay. So if they pay $50 today, it doesn't really matter. It won't recognize revenue until the start date of their stay and then every day throughout. Accrual isn't tied directly to payments, so it offsets it in accounts receivables, so you know how much is still owed to you. So revenue is recognized regardless of payment, and then you have to watch your accounts receivables to make sure you're getting all your money. So those are the 3 methods that we have available. If you go in there by default, you will only see cash as an option. If you would like hybrid or accrual accounting, you do need to contact support because we have to turn that on in the back end. I'm not going to go too deeply, like Matt said, into hybrid and accrual, mostly because they're not as popular as cash basis. But if you have questions about them, I'm happy to answer them in the Q&A. For the accrual, one other caveat is we do have to fill out all of these settings, and that does need to be done with or by support. So you can either set up a meeting and we can help you do that, or you can just send support a message and they can tell you what they need to know to set it up. So that's just a little piece of info about the accrual settings. But we're going to go on cash. And we have 2 different end of day batch modes. So we have the simple 1-step batch and the advanced 2-step batch. Now, if you've used any of our legacy softwares, the 2-step batch is what we kind of built everything off of. But if you don't need your clerks to reconcile a cash drawer or to like count cash and checks, if you're only taking credit card, the 1-step batch is probably plenty. I'm going to leave it on 2-step batch just so you can see the full breadth of it. But like I said, if you want to simplify, the 1-step batch is definitely enough. Hybrid and accrual can only be a 2-step batch. So just letting you guys know about that. Now on this main settings page, we do have a financial account for other charges, and we have a financial account for write-offs. Of course, before you can even link them, we have to set up your accounts. So if you look at the top, you have your general settings, which means you do have to choose your method first. And then we're going to click on chart of accounts. Now, if you use an accounting package like QuickBooks or Sage or Keystone, you can set it up in the same way. And if you are using QuickBooks desktop or online, and you would like to do the export from Firefly and the import into your accounting package, the numbers do have to be the same. So please keep that in mind. When it does the export import, it only looks at account numbers, not at account names, because there's just a lot more room for error in names and strings of text than just plain numbers. So that's why you do have to have account numbers enabled in QuickBooks in order to do the export and the import. So you'd want to set this up in the same way. So basically, you can really customize how you want your accounting set up. So what I like to suggest is think about how you want to see your revenue recognized on reports, and then we would set up your general ledger codes in your accounting to mirror that. The greatest part about the accounting is that it makes the report a lot more customized to the way you want to see your revenue. So every single charge in the system is linked to a specific GL account or goes into a bucket, and you can have multiple charges going into the same bucket, that's fine, but that's why it gives you so much flexibility. So we would start with our cash account. There's a couple of defaults in here. You have to have a cash account because your money has to go somewhere. I'm putting all of my money collected, whether it's cash, debit, credit, check, into that cash account. If you would like to separate it, by all means, you could create like a credit card account. You can have cash, credit card, check, whatever breakdown you'd like, no problem. If you are selling inventory and using the point of sale, you will need an inventory asset account, and that just tells you how much you have sitting in stock on your shelves, like money-wise. You can see I have actually split out my inventory accounts. So if you want to split it out based on the type of inventory, by all means. Inventory offset is because we don't like have an accounts payable like you would in QuickBooks. So you would need that if you're going to use Firefly to track your stock. If you're not, don't worry about it. The deposits account, that's where all money flows through. So if you have money that isn't applied to something, maybe you have it sitting in a reservation credit, it sits in that deposits account. In hybrid accounting, all of your money that is future revenue sits in that deposits account until it's recognized. Any of these account names you can change. So if you're like, I don't like that they called it that, by all means, you can click on it. You can change it to whatever you want. So it doesn't matter. Change the names, change the numbers. It won't hurt anything. All right, let me just go back here. Okay. Sales tax. So if you are charging taxes, I usually recommend breaking your sales tax into different account codes, because when you do your tax reporting at the end of the quarter, the end of the year, then you'll have the breakdown for each specific tax. If there are taxes that are always grouped together, feel free to put them together in the one code, but it's harder to break out after the fact. So I would say it's easier to start with them broken out. And then of course you have the way that you want your revenue seen. So I've been playing with this a little bit, so mine might not be exactly what you want, but I have like weekly income, monthly income for my RV sites. You can do it by daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal. You can do it by full hookup versus tents versus cabins. It's kind of whatever breakdown will make sense to you. Then here I have my point of sale stuff just broken in different items. So I have groceries, wood, dairy, storage, you know, kind of whatever you're actually charging for and how you want to see it broken out. There it goes. My internet's being a little pokey today. We definitely want to separate out the processing fees and the reservation fees. So I always recommend having a separate account for those two, because when you're running your reports, the reservation fees, of course, are what is being paid to us, and the processing fees is what's being paid to your credit card processor. So separating those out, because they're not really revenue for you, is ideal. Then you'll have to have your cost of goods sold, again, only if you're doing the point of sale. And you do need a special account for reservation credits in Firefly, and it must be set up as an expense. So that's not a default that's in there, but if you're going to use a reservation credit, please make sure that's set up in there too. So to actually put in an account, you're going to hit new account. Again, you can name it whatever you want, a daily revenue, whatever number you want. I don't know what I've used. There we go. And then the account class, most of yours are going to be income, and the account type is income. This won't do a whole lot. I would say just make sure the class is correct. The type is more for informational purposes than anything else. And unless it's a tax account, you don't need the tax entity here either. So we'll hit save, and that will add the account. So basically you're going to go through and add each one of your general ledger accounts or your buckets. Unfortunately, there's no import, so you do have to do it one at a time. And you can print or export that when you're done. If you want to compare it with something else that you have from an accounting package, by all means, you can do that. Now, once all of the accounts are in, now we have to go through all the charges in the system and link the charge to the account that they're supposed to go into. So I always just start from add-ons and work my way down, because then I know I don't miss anything. But for example, if we go into add-ons, and let's say we're going to do, let's do a late fee. So if I click on my late fee, then you'll see here that there's a sales financial account. So you just link that to the code that you want it to go into. So I had previously linked it to monthly. I don't think I like that. So I'm going to put it into miscellaneous as an example. Now, because I have set mine up as a sale item, it does require a cost of goods sold and an inventory asset account. So I'm just going to link it there. But if you don't have a cost entered, it won't matter. It won't do anything. So no harm, no foul. All right, let's see if I can have another one that doesn't have those two items. Okay, so let's say my cancellation fee, for example. So if I go into here, oh, yeah, there we go. Then you can see there's the sales financial account for that cancellation fee. So every charge can be different. Then we're going to keep going down. The next one will actually be our coupons. If you want your coupons to be split out into a separate code, you can. I find most people actually don't do this, but if you like this, by all means, What this will do is you can set your coupons to go into an expense account. So for example, if I have a $10 coupon here, anytime it's used, $10 will go into that expense account, and then the entire amount of revenue will go into the revenue account. So say my charge, this is for electric meters, but say my charge is $25 and I'm giving the $10 coupon. $25 will go into revenue, $10 will go into expense, and you'll just have to offset the two of those. If you don't want to do it that way, you can leave the financial account blank. And what that will do is only write the actual revenue into the revenue account. So in this case, it'll only post $15 into the revenue account because 25 minus 10 is 15. So it doesn't matter which way you do it, but just know if you do decide to put your coupons into a separate expense account, you will have to adjust for that so that you know how much is actual revenue and how much was expensed. So yeah. All right, the next one down is our payment methods. With the payment methods, you can go through and link each payment method either to one account or to separate accounts. So as I said before, I think I linked all of mine just, to cash because I was a little lazy. You also have your payments report, which will break out your payments based on the payment type. So you don't have to set them up separately on your general ledger report unless you want to. But just go through and just make sure that all of these are linked accordingly. And I'll show you after, but if you forget to link something, the system will tell you that it doesn't have a link and it will make you go back and link it before you can post. So you can't plow ahead with like tons of errors or anything like that. So it does save you from it. Again, just make sure that reservation credit is going into its own account. So we can see that here. And if there are any payment methods that you know you're never going to use, if you edit it, you can see that you can hide it. You don't have to link it to anything if you're never using it, but then at least clerks can't accidentally choose it. So I would always suggest hiding the payment methods that you don't want.
Right. Adrian, just if you don't mind me hopping in, I saw one hand raised there.
Sure.
It was, I can't see who it is. Shar Best PC. I don't see an actual name. Was there a question there? Happy to unmute your microphone and you can go ahead and ask.
There, hi.
Okay, hi.
Adrian, you're talking about charging 100% of the, if there's a coupon, 10% to the expense and then 100% of it to the revenue, which mathematically that's fine, except for would the sales tax be calculated on the 100% that we didn't actually receive?
Well, the sales tax wouldn't be included because tax goes on after the discount's removed.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it wouldn't affect it.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Like it would still be the right amount of tax is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Based on the charge total, yeah.
All right, great, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. That's a good question too. Okay, so then payment methods is good. Okay, this is my favorite one. So if you have a big store and you have tons of inventory items in your system, please do not go link every single POS item to a GL code, because if you categorize your items, all you have to do is link the category. So anything that I categorize as candy and snacks will automatically go into these 3 GL codes. So of course we have our sales, our cost of sales, and our inventory asset. So instead of sitting there and linking one by one every item, just do the category. Because even if you have to add categories to everything, that's still faster than linking 3 accounts on every item. So for your POS item categories, I would say obviously try to link like things together. So you can see here is like wood and ice. However, if you want to categorize things into one category, but then have a couple items that might be outliers, you can go into the actual individual POS items. Let me just do my ice here, and link it on the individual item. So by default, the category will override if there's nothing here. But if you link it on the individual item, that will take precedence over the category default. So save yourself some time instead of having to link every single item. And I don't have a lot in my store, but I know that there's some parks that have, 1, 2, 3, 400 items, and sitting there to go through every one, I think would be a lot of work. So just remember that if you link it on the individual item, that will override the category default, but you can totally have a category default, which will apply to all items otherwise. Something new that we also added for the POS, which I don't know if everyone's aware of, if you click on this button here, actually, no, I wouldn't have tax on grocery. So let me just find something that would have tax. Supplies would have tax. So if you click on the override individual POS item taxes associated with this category, that will enforce this tax setup that you have selected here on all items in that category. So if you do have some clerks who maybe don't pay attention to how they're setting up the taxes, you can override all items in that category to that tax code without having to go through them one by one. So that's relatively new in the system and hopefully saves people a lot of time and heartache figuring out if something wasn't taxed correctly. But just make sure that's all linked up. Now, this is the one that's kind of hidden. So if we go to property here, then you'll see under fees, you'll have your reservation fee, Reserve America Commission, and your processing fees. So all of these can be into different categories or the same category, whatever you want, but just make sure you do the circle and the 3 dots, hit edit, and then link that to the account that you want. Now I've put mine all into processing fees just because I was trying to save time. But again, I always suggest separating the reservation fee from the processing fee because they are being paid to different companies. So just make sure those guys are linked there. That's the only real hidden one. The rest are much easier to find. Of course, we have our taxes. So you'll want to make sure that your taxes are set up into the right account codes there as well. That's a pretty easy one. Once it's set, leave it and you're good to go. And of course, when you are making the journal entries and posting things, it will break the tax out and put it into the appropriate categories. So you don't have to do anything extra as long as it's linked. Under unit, you have a few different options. So of course, because every unit is its own entity in Firefly, you could technically have every unit in a different account code if you want. I would never suggest that, but you could do it. But basically, if you go into the unit and scroll down a little bit on this general tab, you'll see the financial account here. Now, this is just the general financial account. If you are not splitting revenue by daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal, you can put everything just into the financial account that is right there. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to save that. However, if you would like to break your revenue out into daily, weekly, and monthly, when you go to rates here, you'll see that on individual rates, you can assign a financial account for that specific rate. So if I put my RV income daily on my daily rate, then my dailies will go into that account code. If you have special rates like holiday rates, you have to do it for each code. So make sure that each rate has that linkage for it to go into the right bucket. You can see monthly as well. There's my monthly one. Oh, I didn't do it. There we go. So that would go into a monthly bucket instead. So if you wanted to separate it out that way, just make sure the rates in the rates tab are linked to that code. The other one you'll need on here is the lock fees. So if you do charge the lock fee, again, just make sure you go into the edit. You do have to click on show advanced lock fee options to find the financial account. So just make sure that's unlocked and linked. If you don't link the lock fee, again, it'll yell at you. It'll say, hey, there's no financial account. Where do I put this? You fix it and you go forward. Once you've linked the account codes, you can do the import export on the top. So like if they were all the same, you could just do, okay, financial account, that would only be the one on the general tab. If you are doing it on the rates, you would have to do it by site type and then just copy the rates over. So just make sure that if you're setting it up by like daily, weekly, monthly, you're only copying it to like units. So it's a little bit extra setup, but worth it if you want that breakdown. All right. And then the last one's utilities. So again, another easy one to put in. I have 2 electric meters. I was getting fancy. So you just link your financial account there on your electric meter and that's that. So that is the linking of everything. So you just have to make sure every charge you have has a link, a GL code linked to it. If you create new charges, make sure that you put the financial account on because as you'll see in a second, it will get angry if it's not linked. So now to actually run the end of day, we're going to go to accounting here on the left. And again, you won't see that menu unless you have accounting procedures as your permission. And then we're just going to do end of day.
Adrian,
Now-
sorry to
sorry.
jump in.
Yeah.
There was one question on linking
Yeah, sorry.
before we move on.
Oh,
I'll let it was Laura Krieger. Laura,
Yeah.
go right ahead
Sorry.
with your question. I just gave you the mic there.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
There,
Okay.
there you go.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good.
Unlinking, if I set up the GL accounts, will I actually have the option? Because when you were going through it, my RV sites and units
Mhm.
doesn't have any option to do financial accounts.
You have to have the accounting settings. First, you have to have the method selected. If you don't have a method, you can't see those.
Okay.
So two things, you have to have the method selected, and then in your user profile, you also have to have the accounting settings procedure. I mean, which you would.
That
This
I
one.
do.
Yeah.
And then I did select cash.
Okay.
But do you still have to maybe have your GL account set up first?
Oh yeah,
before
you have to
get
have
that
like the
option?
accounts, the chart of accounts has to be done first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you still should see, like you should see the drop down.
Nope, not on,
You might
not on
have
the
to,
POS or anything.
okay, because they should still be there. Once you hit your
Yeah. No,
accounting method, you have to have the accounting method in the batch mode and hit save.
I do have that.
If you can't see it, you might
Oh,
have to log out and log
Maybe I
back
didn't
in.
do save.
Okay, I've done that a lot too.
Setting, okay, wait a minute, yeah, I didn't hit save.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and that should unlock it for you. So you should be able to link them all up. Yeah, because you should see, like, even if you don't have your whole chart of accounts in there yet, like if you want to do it little by little, you can always add to it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so I forgot the save button.
That's okay. It's good. It's good that it's there. I'm glad.
Yeah. Should be good now. Thank you.
Perfect. No problem. All right, so let's go do the end of day. So again, that's accounting and end of day. And once again, I am doing the 2-step batch. The 1-step batch just rolls payments and transactions into one go. But I like the 2-step batch because I like to see the breakdown. If I had staff at my park, I would like them to be able to kind of see, okay, yes, this is how much cash I have, and be a little bit more accountable for that. That said, we do generally recommend doing the end of day update the next morning for the day prior, especially if you're taking online payments. Because as you know, people can book any time of night. They can, be in their pajamas and paying their bill at 10:30 p.m. when you're not in the office. So we want to make sure that you have a clear cutoff time so that your processor reports will match your Firefly reports, just so that you're not trying to figure out timing of stuff and there's, $60 on this day that wasn't on this day because of the timing. You can do multiple end of day updates. So if you wanted the staff to do the end of day at 5 p.m. when the office closes, and then you want to do it once more the next morning for the day prior to get everything that came through from office close to midnight, totally fine. It won't hurt it if you want to do it twice, but up to you, whichever works best for your business. Now, I did some things this morning. So normally I would say click here and backdate this. I'm not going to, just so that we can see some data. But if you hit generate and we're on the payments tab here, it's going to pull in a list of all the payments collected from the last time you did your update to whatever date you have entered now. So if you don't do it for 2 or 3 days, it will batch it together, but you can print reports for each individual day. So it won't really hurt it. If you skip a few days, it'll catch itself up. But if you want to backdate it and do it day by day, that's totally fine too. So you can see on this payment screen, we have our cash payments here, our check payments here, and then of course our credit debit. You can print this if you like the look of this. I would say the payments report might be a cleaner way to see it all, but if you like the look of this, by all means. With the cash, you can see right now, I can't post my batch. This should be a blue button for me to be able to post the batch. If I click on it, nothing happens. And that's because I have cash payments and I haven't entered the actual amount of cash that I've collected. So Firefly will not let you batch out until you enter the actual amount. So I'm just gonna pretend I counted it and that I was right. If you want to do a write-off for cash that doesn't match, you have the option to set that up, but you do not have to utilize it if you don't want to. So it's whatever works for you. But you can see that now that I have the expected and the actual amount, my post batch button is lit up. Just so you can see what it looks like, there is also a summary here, and this has broken it down by day. So every day, the cash and the deposits. This is cash basis. So you'll see when we do the revenue side, the deposits, it'll be going out of deposits on the next side. So that's just kind of the way the two-step batch works. It goes into cash, through deposits, and then into revenue. So you'll see that deposits on both sides. If you were on hybrid, then the money would stay in deposits, and then anything that was supposed to be recognized that day would come out of deposits again on the next side that we'll do. So just so that's hopefully clear. As long as your payments look good, then we're just going to hit post batch. We'll hit yes, submit batch, and that will post all the payments for you. Now that's only one half of the equation. So we've done the payment reconciliation, and the next step is to do the revenue recognition or the transactions recognition. So you'll see once we've done the payments at the top, you have the transactions. And I do want to make it very clear that you do have to do the payments first, because the transactions can't recognize payments that haven't been posted. So please do the payments first. Otherwise, your data will look really weird. Under transactions, we'll hit generate, and that's just going to load all of the revenue that needs to be posted, again, from the last time you did the update to whatever day you have entered here. Now, you can see right away, I have some red marks, and that's why I said before that it won't allow you to just plow ahead without really making sure that things are set up in a way that makes sense. So if you see the red marks here at the top, that means there's an error somewhere. Now, I set this up, so I'm going to go to the inventory error first. When people first set the accounting up, this is the one that you'll see the most. If you click on the inventory tab here, you'll see it tells you exactly what's wrong. It says inventory account has been specified for this POS item, however, COGS account has not. If one is selected, the other is required. So basically it's saying you're missing a linkage in kind of a fancy way. So you can, I think you can usually view it from here. No, that's the register. Okay. You can see what the items were. Then if you go back into your settings, I know that these were POS items. So I know that the problem is with, at the very least, if I look at my list here, the Earl Grey tea and my milk. These were two different transactions, but you can see that's the problem with the Earl Grey tea. So I have to figure out what the heck is wrong with the Earl Grey tea. I would probably start with the categories because I know that's my shortcut. So if I go into my grocery category where my tea is, you'll see that it's missing a cost of sales account, which is exactly what the error message said. So it says there's no, however, the cost of sales account has not been set. So all I have to do is go into my cost of sales, choose my account, and hit save. And that will fix that problem. You do have to hit generate once again for the problem to clear. I'm going to fix the other problem first, then we'll hit generate again. So I'm going to go back to the reservation revenue. And again, there's still an error message. So if you scroll down, it tells you a nice big red line, what's wrong. And if you're setting up the accounting and trying to catch up, especially for a few months or even like for the year, you'll probably see this error message most commonly. So that's why I wanted to address this one, just so that you can see it and fix it without having to feel like you have to contact us. Not that we're not happy to help, but I know if you're trying to get this done, you just want to get it done. So this one says that you cannot post payment for overpaid charge, update charge amount, or refund payment. If it's a reservation that has an issue, you'll see you can actually click on the lookup code right here. So I'm going to click on that. And if I scroll down a little bit, do you see here how it says overpaid? So Firefly doesn't know where to put the $90.40 because they paid that money, but it doesn't belong on this charge because the charge is only $813.60 and the paid amount is $904. So you have two options. The reason that this one's overpaid is because I applied a Good Sam coupon. If that was in error, you could remove the coupon. You can refund the $90.40 if it was supposed to be paid back to the customer, or you can edit the charge to reflect the amount that was actually paid. Now, this one is a monthly stay. They shouldn't have gotten a Good Sam coupon because, my goodness, that's $100 off an already discounted month. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the coupon. And you can see that puts it back to paid. It's all good. And now when we go back to our journal entries here, I'm just going to scroll up and hit generate again. And if I did it all right, then there'll be no more mistakes. Oh, I missed one. Okay. Okay. Oh, I made a mistake. So this one here says no financial account found for unit full hookup 50 amp. This looks like it is site 93. I didn't realize I laid so many traps for myself. So if we go into our units and we look up site 93, there we go. Ah, I did not link a financial account. So I'm just going to go ahead and link that to the full hookup. That's fine. All right. And let me just scroll down to make sure I did surprise myself. Okay, 93, it's all 93. Okay, there we go. Let's hit generate again, and now the errors should be cleared out. No. Oh gosh, okay. I was trying to catch up really old payments on this. So I did a whole bunch of stuff that I probably shouldn't have done, made it much harder on myself for no reason. Let me see if I remove that.
That's okay. It actually is a good example of like, you don't have to stress about this as much when you guys are setting it up, because it will tell you, hey,
exactly.
There's an issue with this, there's an issue with that. So it won't let you post batches for 3 months and then you're like, uh-oh.
Oh no, yeah, my revenue's all wrong. And I fixed it. So now you can see it's happy with me. You can look at the summary as well, and that will tell you for each day of the month, the debit, credit, and post amount for each code. If you like the look of that and you want to print it, by all means, but of course we do have a report that we're going to take a peek at. So now that my revenue is good, I'm going to go ahead and post that batch. All right, and once the batches have been posted, now you'll be able to generate the report in the best way. If you don't post the batches, the reports are likely to change if you add data to them. So I would say make sure you post before you print. The two reports that are based on the end of day are your journal entries report and your journal entries summary report. The journal entry summary is the one I would suggest because it summarizes all the information. So like, let's look at today, for example. I'm just going to run that one. Here you can see the debit, credit, and post amount for every code. Please ignore this at the top. You don't need these numbers. These don't actually help you. It just tells you the total debits and the total credits match, which means you balance, and that's wonderful. But these are the numbers you actually want, your post amount. So for your cash, post amount is how much money you've collected that day. And then of course we have our sales tax here. And then we have all of our revenue accounts here. So those are the numbers that you would want for your revenue. You can print the report, you can export it to Excel, whatever you'd like to do with it is there. Now, the other one is the journal entries report. I would say this is a great report if you want to drill down on something or look at a specific account to see what's hitting it. But you probably don't need to run this every day for all of your items because it's very detailed. It tells you every in and out of every item of every code that was affected. So for example, if I was trying to pinpoint, monthly revenue and it looked a little bit off, I could run this to see what went into it, to see maybe why I thought something wasn't quite right. So this will show you the detail of that GL code. But again, you probably don't need all of that detail on a daily basis. The other report that you'll want to use is the payments report. The payments report isn't based on your end of day, but it should match to your end of day. So it's a good kind of check and balance to make sure that your post amount of your cash matches versus your payments report to see that everything's accounted for. If you're running the payments report, though, please make sure to change the payment status to paid. Otherwise, it could show you failed payments, and that would inflate your numbers, and then you'll panic because your numbers don't match, and we don't want that. So just make sure payment status is on paid, and then when you run it, that should match your journal entry summary report. Now, if you are using an accounting package like QuickBooks, either desktop or online, it's the only one this works with, we do have the transfer batches option. So if you go into accounting, you can do transfer batches. So as long as the batches have been posted, you check mark the days the batches are for, and you will have a payment side and a transaction side. So make sure that you check mark both because they go together. And then you just choose your format. So we have desktop or online, then that will download a file to your downloads folder on your computer, which you can upload or import into QuickBooks. So if you need extra help with that, by all means, set up a time, we can definitely go over it. But the option is there if that was something that you wanted to do. The last thing with the accounting here is our posting batches. This is just a history of everything that you've done, every batch that has been posted. So you can drill down this way as well by clicking on the transaction or the payment side and then clicking on the account code to see what exactly went into it. So that is all there if you want it. You can reverse the batch. So if somebody got a little overzealous and forgot to change the date and you just wanted to reverse it and cut it off cleanly, you can reverse and repost, not a problem there. And then you also have adjustments as well. So if you do need to make any adjustments to any financial accounts, you can choose the adjustment date, the code, and then the debit and credit adjustment for that GL code. Save that, and then that will also alter your journal entry summary report. I find not many people need this on any kind of regular basis, but if you do, it's there for you just in case. But I think that is my spiel. So if anyone has any questions or anything you want to see on the accounting, we'll open it up, Matt. So just let me know.
Yeah, sounds good. We had a couple queued up that we can start with. These ones naturally go well with since you just talked about reporting anyway. Yeah. And then anybody else, feel free to type in the chat or raise your hand. Either way, whatever works best for you guys. The first one was, is there a report that we can run to show the listing of open deposits at a specific point in time? What's the name of the report, and can you run it at any time, or does it have to be run on the cutoff day?
Yeah. So we do have the deposit summary report. This one would tell you like the date of the reservations and then when they paid by. I don't think that's quite what you mean by open deposits, but there is that one. But if you mean like security deposits, we don't have any backdatable reports, but we do have the add-ons sold report. So you could run it to see who like has an add-on, like if you had a security deposit in here, who had an add-on that still had money on it. So like if we did security deposits for like this year as an example, I have one person that still has money on their security deposit. But if they've been edited or like taken off by that time, you can't do it retroactively. It's like as of the moment you run it.
Okay. And that question was from Bedenia, and I apologize if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Bedenia Hudson. Feel free to let us know if you have any follow-ups. There was a follow-up about this too, on a similar note. It says, can you talk about the reservation credit in the report that will list what is in it, just like the open deposits report? Yeah, so basically what, yeah.
Oh, if it's that one, then reservation credits, I'm sorry. So the reservation, if that's what you mean by deposits, reservation credits, it's a report that just shows you what's in the reservation credits. But again, it isn't retroactive. It's like as of that moment in time. However, on the journal entries, you'll see the movement in and out of the reservation credit if you've been using it, because it will post into that reservation credit account and offset against the deposits account. So like you'll see the movement of it retroactively if you've been posting it, but there's no report that says like as of this day, these people had a credit. It's just like as of when you run it, these people have a credit.
Makes sense. Yeah, let us know if you have any follow-ups on that. And then anyone else, feel free if you had questions about reports, errors, anything really, right, Adrian?
Yeah, you got more errors than I was expecting on the demos. So hopefully that helped.
Yeah. Let's see here. She did reply. She said, when I see a debit on the reservation credit on the journal entry summary report, what is the other side of that entry?
It's deposits. Usually it's defaulted to 2200. I'm not sure if that's what it is in yours, but that's usually what it defaults to. Unless, the debit, unless it's going into revenue, then it would be in the revenue accounts. But if it's going into the credit, then it has to offset against the deposits.
Gotcha. Yeah, let us know if you have a follow-up, and feel free to unmute as well. I can give you that ability in here too, if you did have follow-ups on that specific thing. I just allowed that, so. Oh. Okay, so she says, my understanding is the deposit report and the reservation credit report should add together to agree with the deposit in QBO.
Well, the deposit, no, because the deposit, like if you're on cash basis, there aren't really deposits, right? Like this deposit summary report is just for people who wanted to see money that was collected in advance for future reservations, but the money would already be recognized as revenue on the accounting side.
And by the way, QBO was QuickBooks. That was the reference there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Unless you're on hybrid. In which case, like most of the reports are for cash basis, so I don't know if this one would work the same way.
Yeah, she said hybrid.
Okay. Yeah, we don't really have a report that that checks for the hybrid at this point. Because I know every time I've tried to make it work with this one and it doesn't work. So I think there must be a filter on it that's different. So
yeah, and this is one of those things, like if you run into a bunch of issues, we could set a separate meeting, like
totally, yeah,
just with you guys at the park and someone on our team, and we could just dive into it more.
Go through all our ideas. I always have lots of ideas.
Okay, what else? Anybody have questions about reports, types of accounting?
Oh, the fun science.
Feel free to either raise your hand or just punch a question into the chat.
Then I think I kind of just mentioned this, but just to clarify, like the revenue summary, the total revenue, like these are very much cash basis reports. So even if you are on a different accounting method, those will not change. So the only reports that change based on accounting method currently are the journal entries and the journal entry summary reports.
So Lindy King did have a question. She had her hand raised, so I just allowed her to unmute. Go ahead, Lindy.
Hello, good morning. I hopped on here kind of late. I didn't realize it was happening and my manager was on. I was listening and I was like, okay, I'll hop on. So for me, I'm trying to figure out whether it's worth in this next year diving into this is new for us this year. I think we picked up in Firefly mid-year.
Okay.
We have a pretty large park, an RV park. I wasn't the one who set it up, so I don't know all the inner workings of it. What I know is I can run a beautiful charge report at the end of the day. I've figured out how to kind of unmatch things that don't go through the credit card processor the same day and, kind of balance that out. It might not be, it's almost perfect, but
yeah,
it sounds like there's this whole other side, this inner working of Firefly that we never really touched, but yet we get the right end of day stuff. So what is the benefit of, because I capture all the different categories and the sales tax, thankfully. That's when she was setting it up, I'm like, I need to be able to separate out sales tax, and that charge report was like the only one that I could do. But what's the benefit of having, our QuickBooks desktop, but then having this all map inside of and taking the time to do that for Firefly? And did I understand that we can take this previous year and it's not that difficult to map all of that with some help from you guys?
And and that's a great question too, because if you are starting, like say you've been using Firefly for a little bit like you have, and you're like, oh, I want to start the accounting, you do have to catch it up. So like you do have to post from
because I'm like, that's a mess.
To now. You can't just be like, I'm starting today, right? Like that's not how it works.
What happens to the history?
You don't have to use the historical data if you don't want to. So like if you don't want to import that, you can delete those files. So if you want to be like, okay, we're going to start the import on January 1st, that's totally fine. But the benefit, of course, to using the accounting is that you can break it down in the way that you want it. So you can have like the post amount into each of your GL codes. It's not going to write all the transactional data. It just does the debit, credit, and therefore the post amount, into each of your GL codes into QuickBooks, but you break it down the way you want it, so that you don't have to sift through that charges report.
Gotcha. Okay. Might
Yeah,
be
so
worth it. So, and you guys
it
said
might
that
be
we
a little
can,
faster, like in the
Yeah.
long run.
yeah. And then right now it's kind of quiet because we're mostly are just like monthlies and stuff, but then the reports start
Yeah.
getting really large. Is that
Yeah.
also the benefit is that people, because I'm the only one who has insight into QuickBooks, is maybe more of like other people that are working the reservation stuff can see that information as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because they could run the report at any point in time. You don't have to do a QuickBooks export and import every day. You could do it for a week or a month at a time if you want to as well. So no pressure on that side. But then they would have access to this data, and you don't have to be using QuickBooks or an accounting package to see and use this data either. So
Okay. And then but the way we're doing it too could also just be fine, where it's just kind of all sits in the
yeah, like
background. It's
if
not
it works
mapping
for you,
anywhere.
totally, yeah. But like this would obviously just save some time and effort because you won't have to go and pull out stuff from that charges report. It'll do it for you.
kind of keeps it nice and clean. And you guys would because like myself and my manager, we weren't as involved with setting this up. You guys would maybe take some time to analyze all of our account with us and see how better we could
For
set
sure.
it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can definitely, yeah, you can book a time with one of well, it's me, Matt, and Jen on Success.
Yeah.
And we can go through whatever pain points you're having or whatever setup you think, oh, like how can we do this better? What can be easier for us? That's what we're here for. So.
And if we pick up that after the new year, that's not too late to go backwards or forwards.
No, it
okay.
doesn't. It
does.
There's
so much going to finish out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's a big project for the next 2 weeks. You guys are probably
for
pretty
the
booked
holidays,
too.
of course. I would say though, if you do want to do it before you have to remit taxes, so that it's not that panic.
Yeah, no, well, and I already have everything in QuickBooks, so I'm good.
Perfect. Yeah.
But it'd be just more like making it nicer for moving forward. Luckily, I have everything clean, but
exactly.
Okay, I think we'll look at that for after the new year. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Is this recorded too that we can find this? It looked like it is.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send it out in a follow-up. I think Jen will be sending it out, but someone will.
I mean, because
we'll
I remember everything you guys said perfectly.
Right?
I'm sure everyone else does too.
Yep. I tried to slow down my talking.
No, you did good. It's just memory retention.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot to remember to go through, right? So.
Yeah. Well, thank you both.
I will send out the link, and there will also be a YouTube channel that our YouTube channel will have it on there.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we do also have a couple articles in the knowledge base too that have screenshots and breakdowns. Yeah, that was my love project.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys.
That's all there too.
Yeah, and by the way, that knowledge base is really helpful for a park that's coming in, maybe a new park that's like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't even know what type of accounting I want to do. That there's a whole setup of that, of first choose which type, and then basically it's outlined kind of like today's webinar is do this and then do this, and then here's how you do end of day. So it is really helpful.
You do have to kind of go in order. You can't go out of order, unfortunately. So.
Can we access or a link to the YouTube in the follow-up people? Yes. Jen said she'll put a link to that. Yep.
Yeah, that'll be up by the end of the week.
Awesome. Anything else? Any last questions? I know we just have 2 or 3 minutes left. Going once, going twice. But that said, feel free. I know someone will have a question that in 10 minutes where they're like, oh man, I should have asked this. Just reach out to any of us, reach out to our support team, and they'll get a hold of us. Success at Firefly Reservations comes to all 3 of us. So we'll be able to answer any questions that come up about this. Okay, well, awesome. We won't keep you guys any longer. Thanks so much for joining in. I know it's that funky time of year where some people are in, some people are out. PTO has started for some people. People are traveling. So thanks for joining in. This was I think, very helpful overview. So thanks very much, Adrian, too.
Yeah. You know, I love accounting. So,
You do.
We're so glad
I'm
you
not
do.
saying that sarcastically. I do love it in the system. So,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much. And you will be getting a follow-up, you said, by the end of the week, Jen?
Yep, should be by Friday. And happy holidays, everyone. And thanks for joining.
yeah, thank you.
Bye, guys. Happy holidays.